Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Third Act, and welcome back to a segment of the next 10 minutes. Today, we will be focusing on vocals. So we have today all of our musical consultants. Oh my gosh, we're all here, and we have a guest today. We have Brendan Binder joining us. Brendan is so gracious enough to come and talk with us because none of us are professionals, and he is. He has a degree for vocal performance from UTRGV. So he's from here, which we love. We love people that stay here and help the valley grow. He also has classical vocal training from around the country and in Europe. He has vocal directed multiple community shows and also schools around the region. We are so excited and so blessed that he's joining us today, and we can't wait to have this conversation.
And we're each going to take turns asking Brandon a question. Daniela will be our moderator. She will keep us on track and make sure that we don't go off on tangents. Just see where the conversation goes. I feel like one of the reasons that we wanted to talk about vocals in this kind of like aspect or this like segment was because me personally, like I do kind of feel like some schools like put vocals like on the back, like they focus on some bigger things like okay, we're gonna focus like this first month on building the set, and then like choreo, and then this, and then like, oh wait, we have to sing. And so like I feel like some people kind of put that to like the last minute, and then they're rushing, and I feel like that's where it kind of like falls through, if that makes any sense.
I think that should be the first thing that they should focus on.
Sometimes, depending on the school, I totally understand the order of importance by who is in charge of the production. Because if the theater department is in charge of it, obviously they are thinking about, the tech classes and the performance classes, and that's kind of where their curriculum is based around. But if it's the music department who's in charge of it, vocals may be the first thing because they're going to have that fast and be able to do that, and then things later. So I totally understand how, depending on where a production starts, the order of importance can be moved and vocals can be moved around.
So going back into like how vocals can be put on the back burner, what do you think are really common mistakes that young singers make? Like when they're learning how to sing, and then as they do theater throughout their life, what do you think are some common mistakes and things that they should avoid?
For those of you who are watching, I'm a singer first. So when in my training and stuff like that, so my brain is a little bit more skewed to that. But I think for students who are not as trained and adept to it, if they don't focus from the beginning on, exactly their parts and exactly what's important to them, that is going to be harder and harder to focus on later. And we see this in a bunch of like the different shows that I've been a part of, that directors will ask or enforce or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Ask you to record them when they're going over your parts, and some people in their brains, they're like, oh no, it's fine, I've got that. And if they don't really focus in on that moment right there and figuring out and making that judgment call, do I really have it later? Or am I going to be caught up in so many other things that I'm not focusing on it? The most important thing about learning a part of music is listening and understanding it first. So if you don't have that understanding and that ear training, it's going to get harder and harder and harder to learn it. Think about that and realize the importance not only of just your voice in the cast, but just how it works together as an ensemble or part of the show.
I've worked with some schools that don't have vocal directors, and they do big shows, and it's like you can't do shows that are like extremely difficult to read. And if you're not a trained professional, like how do you teach your kids how to do this? I understand that some schools don't have like the money to get a vocal director or the time to get their choir in there, but I feel like difficult shows shouldn't be done without a vocal director.
What Daniela is saying, not being able to have vocal directors, I know Vela did that for a while. We had Brianna Vela. She was always our vocal director, and she's phenomenal. I mean, she would take us step by step by step. But she was also prior, like she was a student. And she was a recent student. She came in the year after she graduated.
I just keep thinking about, I guess the last thing I was in was Hunchback. So if we didn't have our music director,
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what we would have done.
That show was vocally, because we're talking about Chris, like, oh, I could not. I wish I would have recorded a lot of that. Sorry for talking about the Harlingen Community Theater. Get your shirts, get your merch.
promo. Since we talk about this a lot, like me and Daniela talk about this a lot in probably every review that we've done. So I thought I would ask you, like, what do you think there are there any like exercises, or are there things that you can do to kind of like improve how you blend with other people? Because I feel like, I know I've been told myself that sometimes I have an issue blending, and like when I'm a part of a group. So like, is there something that, like, I don't know, maybe some advice, or like maybe there is exercises out there that I'm not aware of that can like help performers kind of dial it back, I guess, or like kind of work as a group?
Definitely because of my background, and again, for those who don't know, I guess a lot of my first training was in classical stuff. So, you know, because that's how they kind of base the teaching style. And a lot of what we were told is very much based upon vowel shapes and the different sounds that are coming out of your mouth. And obviously, not everyone speaks the exact same way, and not everyone's mouth is formed the same way. People's voices continue changing for a while. You know, your voice is not done in high school, you know, it's not done in college, you know, so your voice is going to keep changing. The exercises that I try to implore on people are singing, I guess you would just say, like scale motions as a group on just a single vowel, and just forcing them to listen to 40 people singing e will, like, it'll be ingrained in their brain, and it really helps round that sound out, because they're listening to that exact same sound, you know, and like it helps their ears find that connection. And once everyone has a better understanding of that, that helps the blend.
So for those students that haven't had any sort of vocal training, anything having to do with music, that don't know anything about music, but you know, they have the voice, they have the potential to sing, what do you have, like, what kind of advice do you have for them to, you know, actually learn how to properly sing in a show, and you know how to do it right?
The biggest thing is, don't be afraid to reach out to people, because there's so many ways to damage voices at such a young age. Starting that understanding of what your voice sounds like and how it feels as well. Because, you know, there's so much, especially in like my study and what I focused on, and like kinesthesia and body awareness, that singing is so much more than just a sound experience. It's also like a body feeling experience. Starting to learn what it feels like in you first, you know, and from there, it'll start feeling both here and just full body better as you continue singing.
I know I took it upon myself my senior year to take classes with Dr. Sadlier at the university here in Rio Grande Valley, which was the biggest step for me. And it was my senior year, and I haven't done a show since. So it's like, if you feel, or if you have the ability, like Brandon says, to reach out to those resources and better your voice in any way that you can, it's worth it. But you'll be so much more comfortable on stage, which I think makes you enjoy the performance even more.
For students who have rehearsed a song to death, and it even sounds boring to them having to rehearse it 10 more times before the show date, and they feel that it's maybe falling flat, how can, I guess, what advice would you have for someone who's trying to convey like a true emotional connection to a song that's kind of like died on them?
There is very tiptoe conversation around, you know, like emotional connections to song, and not letting it get too attached, you know, and then it draining. You know, you can get into those extremes, but as well, you know, just repeating it over and over, getting those same ideas leaving it flat happens. And I totally understand that. My professors always talked about like giving each sentence or each moment an adjective and going from there. You know, it's something that's very easily done, and it ties into staging of a song as well. You know, you do have those moments where you're moving across stage, you know, and that's how like we all like memorize our pieces as well. You know, you have those like, I stand here, it's this line. You know, so like there's also that ingrained in our brain that it's like, this is the routine. So once we feel very comfortable with that routine, exploring those adjectives, that intention can help give it new life.
I've been in shows where like some vocal directors or some like directors specifically want like you to kind of not per se copy, but like follow the sheet music like as it is. How do you feel about actors like taking those personal liberties? And do you think they should take those personal liberties, like making the song their own?
The musical director in me says, learn it as it is written. That is how the composer wrote it. And from there, if you're in character, if it makes sense to take those liberties, do it. If your vocal ability reflects what you can do it. Do not take a liberty that was taken by another actor with another vocal ability. All that being said, me as a performer will do whatever I want. And then go back and be like, wait, I'm dumb. I'm not being smart. Yes, thank you. Sometimes you need to take it to a different place sometimes, you know, in like that exploration and that allowance of performance ability that can lead you to a, you know, liberty. But after you have found out that it fits character-wise and, you know, it works musically, then going back to the director and being like, wait, was that cool? Can we figure that out so that it's correct? If it's a more classical show that has something very concrete written, it's not as flexible as adding a run to The Color Purple. You know, adding a run to Mean Girls.
The only time I do it, and I know we were all thinking it, that's why I asked the question, but the only time I do it is when I know my character or when I feel like it works in the song. Like I try not to like veer too far off like Jessica Vosk in Wicked, you know, but like it's I try to
Don't
kind
call
of
her out.
like
She's amazing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But like that is like so like if I saw that I'd be like what just happened? All right, guys, so that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much to Brandon Binder for joining us. It was such a pleasure having you here with us today. Thank you for this was a really good conversation, guys. I'm pretty excited about this one just because I love talking about vocals and I can talk about vocals forever. But that being said, this does bring us to the end of the video. So just a quick reminder that the Intermission collection is still live and running. The fundraiser will be going until October 31st at 11:59 p.m. You can find the link to our order form on any of our social media platforms in the bio. You can just click on the link and it should take you to the order form right there. You can also check out the link to see the video explaining a little bit about the Intermission project, which is something that we started for this season to help community theaters in need. So once again, thank you so much for watching. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.
Bye.